Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Girlish. My name is Gage, and I'm here with my co-host Olivia.
Hey everyone, we're back.
We're back. I just want to apologize for my voice early on because we can talk
You
about it a little
partied
bit
too
later.
hard.
I partied a little too hard, and I'm still recovering. So yeah, that's why I sound like I'm dead right now.
Yeah, it seemed like you had a very eventful past weekend. It's crazy because it's been like a week since you actually went to Coachella.
I
Yeah,
know,
we can
time
talk about that
flies.
more.
I'm so
Um,
depressed.
it seemed like it was like the whole vibe, everyone's story and stuff. I got such FOMO because I was like, what is happening? Like that everything looks so fun. It's really just like a place to be. And when everyone's there, you're like, damn, I should go next year.
Yeah, I felt like I was like living my fantasy because like you see it on social media, it's probably like one of the most shared things. So being there was like kind of surreal, especially going weekend too and like seeing everybody go the week before. So yeah, it was super fun. But I could talk a lot about my experiences.
Yeah, definitely. I guess, but first we should clarify. We've been gone for a little bit now. It's been like 3 or 4 weeks, maybe more. Um, but yeah, a lot has happened, and we want to explain ourselves. Every episode we're explaining
You know
ourselves.
what? I don't even think we
Um,
need an explanation because it's
uh,
just how it is.
Life is life, and like you
Yeah.
don't have to overthink life. Like things happen, and you're getting content today. That's all that matters.
Yeah, we're
So
here.
next week, are we going to be here? Who knows?
Maybe not.
Luck, luck of the draw. Should you be so lucky? But we are back here today, and that's all that matters. A lot has happened within our lives, though, over the past few weeks. That every time it happens, you and I text each other like, "Oh, I can't wait to talk about this on the podcast." And I've had a story that I've been sitting on for such a long time that I've been wanting to talk to you about
I'm so
because
excited.
it was so embarrassing, but it was so funny at the same time. And yeah, I think it'll be fun to just dive into everything and talk about everything we've been kind of going through and stuff.
We
Yeah.
text like often, but do you ever like have a story or something that you want to tell me that you think, oh my God, this would be so fun to say on the podcast instead? So you like save it? Do you ever have
Yeah,
those instances?
there's like a few times where I've like really tried to hold it in. A lot of times I'll have like a bunch of stories and I end up telling it to you like while we're talking before we film the podcast because we're trying to plan it out. So I typically the story is like I can never get it, but like this one that I've had, I'm like trying to like hold it and like and I really want to just like give it to you because I need to know, I need to see your
I
face when
can't
this
wait to see. I
happens.
remember you told me you had something you wanted to tell me, and I'm excited. I can't wait.
I hope I'm not hyping it up too much. I was just super embarrassed in the moment. But what about, do you have those those stories that you're like, I need to wait because it's
Yeah, I feel like I tell you like what happened, but there's maybe like a couple details that I leave out just so like I could see your reaction when we talk about it on the podcast.
yeah, I love that. It's just like it's fun to get like a clear like visual of like or like just the raw emotion of like the story because sometimes they can be a little crazy. But I want to know first and foremost about how Coachella was because it was such a prevalent thing that happened. I need to know the breakdown, how everything went. Did you see any famous people? What's the vibe?
Okay,
How are
so
the drugs?
uh, first of all, I didn't see any famous people at all.
No,
Eh,
wait, really?
none, none. I went weekend two, and I feel like there's a difference between weekend one and weekend two. Weekend one
Oh
is like
yeah,
when all the influencers go and like take pictures of their outfits and go to events. I didn't realize there are so many events like outside of Coachella in the area that some people don't even actually go to the festival. Like they just go to these influencer parties. So that's pretty much what happens the first weekend. And then the second weekend is like more laid back. A lot of people who go weekend one like go back so that they can actually go to the music festival. And I just wanted to go for the music. Like I wasn't trying to go for like a fashion show or like to get pictures or anything. I took like 3 pictures and like 4 videos the entire weekend. So I was mostly down to just go for the music. So I'm glad I went to weekend two. I would probably suggest anyone that's like never gone before to go to Weekend 2 because it's just like a lot chiller. Um, but it was super fun. I watched this video of this girl on TikTok like saying, "These are my Coachella essentials. You must make sure you bring them." And I was like, she's so extra, like chill out, girl. But like first thing she recommended was a bandana to wear around your face when you're walking into the festival because it's really dusty. And I was like, it's fine. Like I have good lungs, like I can take it. Should have listened to her because every night that we got home and I blew my nose, it was just black, filled with dust and dirt. So that was one thing. She also recommended bringing like a neti pot to clear out your sinuses. And I was like, that's really extra. Like, I'm not going to stick something up my nose and like clean my sinuses. That's so unnecessary. Again, same thing. Would have been super beneficial. So it's like, I've never really been to a festival before like that. So it's interesting to see everything that people bring and you think like you don't need it, but you actually do. So yeah, it was super fun. I'm I don't know if I had fun.
You,
Let's just say
yeah,
that.
that's all you have to say. That's all you. Yeah.
Yeah, I may have not always been 100% sober, but
On
it's
what, it
okay.
doesn't matter.
And on
Yeah.
what those substances were, I don't know what they were, but I survived, and that's all that matters.
All that matters is that you had a good time and you had, and yeah, and was it? How was the weather? Because I was it like, I mean, you're in the desert, so was the heat like overwhelming? Like, how was that?
The first day, it was the coldest. It was like 80, and then it got super cold at night. And then the next 2 days, it was super hot. So yeah, it was hot during the day, but the festival starts at 12. Like that's when the first acts start going on. But we didn't end up getting there until like 4 every day, just because later on, that's kind of when all the bigger artists start to play. So we weren't there like the entire day, but couldn't imagine getting there at noon and then staying until like 1 a.m. after being in the sun all day. I would have died. Like I needed time to sleep in a little bit and recover from the night before and then go a little bit later in the day.
How far was like your hotel and stuff from the actual festival grounds?
We stayed at an Airbnb and it was actually walking distance from
Oh
the
wow.
festival. So it did take like almost a little under an hour to like walk there. It's so much fucking walking. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't prepared. I think we walked like over 10 miles every day at being at the
Wow.
festival. Like the walk
Yeah.
there and then the walk back and then walking around inside the festival.
Is like walking around inside the festival, is it really spread out? I
It's
only the
fucking
only
big.
Yeah, the only festival I've ever been to has been like Warp Tour, like way back in the day when I was like in high school and I was a little emo, and like they just had literally like the stages like right next to each other. So like you would get like residual like sounds from the other band while the one band is playing.
Oh, yeah. It
So
takes like
like,
5 to 10 minutes to like walk to the different stages.
oh
And
wow.
there's certain points where like you can kind of hear music from one stage, but the other stage is like more prominent. So it's
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
because like you're walking around and you can hear something, but then you hear something completely different, like in the distance, or like you hear the bass or something. So it was like a lot of it's so fucking loud. I didn't realize how loud it was until we got there.
That is so cool though. That sounds like a
Yeah,
lot of
we
fun.
were at least honestly really far away when Meg the Stallion was performing, and it sounded like I was in the front row. Like that's how loud it was there.
I mean, what did was everyone like pretty hyped and was everyone having a good time? It seemed like.
Yeah, I feel like it was there was no COVID restrictions. Like they didn't check for vaccines. Nobody really wore masks unless it was like super dusty. So I think everyone was kind of just like happy to kind of have a sense of normalcy and go to a music festival and not have to social distance and wear masks and stuff. So I think that's kind of why everyone was just like in such a good mood and happy to be there and having a lot of fun.
It was like the first time back for like I mean, Coachella was canceled for like 2 years in a row.
It's been 3 years since the last Coachella.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. So
So a
yeah,
lot of
everyone
people
was
have
like
been waiting.
ready. Yeah. I heard that they sold over I want to let me see. The amount of tickets they sold Coachella ticket sales 2022. It's like ridiculous. Uh I like saw it the other day and it's like in the hundreds of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of tickets they sold. Like that was
There
how many
was
people were
so
there.
many people there. There was one point we were watching Disclosure, and I didn't think we were that close to the front. But then we decided we wanted to go see somebody else. So we turned around and tried to get out of the crowd. Literally walked through the crowd for like 10 minutes just of people packed. And I was also not sober. So my anxiety, I was like just walking through a sea of people. It was like 90 degrees. Everyone's like dancing and jumping around. The music's blaring. And I'm like, it's possible that I could pass out, but I didn't. I was like, if this was like 5 years ago or something and I wasn't like comfortable being around people and going out in public, I probably would have passed out. Like there were so many people and it was really overwhelming.
Yeah, that does. I see the thing about festivals. It sounds like such a good time, but it also at the same time sounds like could I actually be having fun there? Like, would I be overwhelmed by all the like chaos going on? Um, yeah, that's. I think just how many people are there, it would be like really overwhelming. You
You
said you
have to like,
survived off of.
yeah, you have to make sure you have the essentials to like be in the crowd. Like you have to make sure you have water, like people in your group have water. I brought like a hand fan. So like anytime I got super hot or anyone was hot, I would fan everybody to like cool us down. So like if you're going to commit to going that deep, you have to make sure that you have stuff to like help you. Cuz
Yeah,
I mean, I saw multiple people pass out when on the last night when we were watching the weekend, this girl just went completely limp and passed out in front of us. And we were like super deep. So, I mean, you can't really get out. Like, if you are unconscious and you pass out and you have like one friend with you, there's no way that you're going to be able to get all the way out of the crowd. Like, you have to kind of just deal with it and like make some space, sit down for a second, collect yourself. Like, you're not going to get out. So, yeah, it's kind of scary.
yeah, I've been in like huge crowds, like I mean, like or smaller crowds before, where I wake up really early. Like one time, I went to go see Halsey, like right before she like got blew up, during her first album, and so she was playing at the House of Blues in Florida, and we went at like 4 a.m. to go see her. We slept on the floor so we can get like um a barricade to like actually be there. Um, and so during that entire show, like you're just standing for hours and everyone's like smushed together like sardines. And if one person's like moves or sways, then like the whole crowd has to, because that's how tight it was. And like when you're in those situations, you literally cannot get out. Like you are stuck there until everyone leaves or people make room for you to like get out, but like you are stuck there. So that's why it's so important for people to like make sure that you bend your knees. A lot of times I see people squatting after they've been like out for like a long time or standing for a really long time, just squatting or even sitting on the floor because it can be like really intense. And then with that many bodies, it's so hot that like you just like you like are suffocating in other people's like air. So like I can't imagine having that like times like hundreds of thousands.
It was like fun though. Like I enjoyed being surrounded by all those people. It was so
Yeah,
much
that's
fun.
and it like I think that's like where a lot of people are like it's so disgusting, but it's like the best type of disgusting. Like it's actually like such a good time and everyone's like having a lot of fun. So that's like I don't know. I really want to go. Emily and I were talking about maybe next year going because it seems like we would have like a ton of fun.
Oh my God, yeah. Let's go next year. I want to go
I'm
again.
down.
Like, I'm obsessed. It was so much
Yeah,
fun. The
that'd
day
be.
after I got back, I think I took Monday off. So Tuesday, worst day of my life, coming back to work
Yeah, you
because I
had to
was
like.
still like recover. You really need like an extra 3 days to fully recover, like truthfully, because everybody in our group like started to feel sick, and then somebody tested positive for COVID, but everyone else was negative. So I guess somehow just one person ended up getting it, but we all like felt sick. So yeah, it's like you have
Yeah.
dust in your lungs, you're just extremely tired, your body's exhausted, you have like brain fog because of, some things that you may have done. It's just
Who
a lot.
knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, high on life.
Hmm.
But I mean, it happens like to like I've gone to Disney World and I've walked around all day, and you get sun tired by the next few days. You're like your body is like extremely exhausted just from being out in the sun. So yeah, like times that with like all the other like variables of nature, I'm sure that like you're gonna be recovering for a little while. But yeah, you told me someone got COVID, and I was like, how? And when you said you didn't test positive, you're like so like you scare COVID away, because there's been so many close calls with you where you almost have COVID, or so like Russell's had COVID and you didn't get COVID.
I slept
Like
next
that
to
is
him when he had COVID and kissed him on the mouth. So I don't
you're
know. My immune system, like I literally went to Coachella, was in massive crowds of people touching nasty shit all day. I didn't even like think. I was like, oh, COVID doesn't exist anymore. Like, I'm at Coachella. I washed my hands like after I went to the bathroom, but like I wasn't being conscious about what I was touching. Like, I was just like, oh my God, yay, I'm here. Hee. And then Russell had COVID. I didn't end up getting it. Somebody else got COVID. I'm still fine. Like, I don't even have the booster. So I don't know. I'm just different.
you're built different.
Yeah.
That's funny. Like, no, I got COVID working from home. Like sitting on my ass all day working from home. That's how I got COVID. And I don't even know where it came from. I don't know how I got it. My mom was convinced that it's just in the air and everyone's gonna get it. But I was just like, I literally work from home. I don't even know how I got it. And you're out here and you like just have never gotten it. And I'm like, that you live the best life.
Yeah.
And I no, and I'm not like I'm not saying like you need to get it. Like I hope you never get it, because it is the worst thing. Even just like a week ago, Emily's sister, we were just like seeing her, and the next day she messaged us and it was like, "Hey guys, I'm positive for COVID." So we're like, "Oh my god, thanks for telling us." And
Yeah.
we tested negative. We just got boosted and we got COVID earlier last year. But that's so scary. Like to like have that like fear of, because I heard of like, was it Coachella? Everyone was calling it.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of like celebrities who went week one and got COVID.
It's kind of
And
hard to tell like if you have it or not because like a lot of the symptoms overlap. Like, do I have a sore
right,
throat because I have COVID, or is it because there's 12 pounds of dust in my lungs and I can't breathe? Or like,
exactly.
is my body sore because I have COVID, or is it because I've been on my feet in 90-degree weather for the past 3 days straight? Like, it's hard to tell.
It's also crazy because like people can just have colds as well. Like I think with COVID now, anytime you just have like sniffles or you get like sick or have a head cold, I mean, we automatically think it's COVID. But like a lot of times, if you're like, I've anytime I'm around a ton of people, my immune system's so bad, I always get some sort of cold. So yeah, like I feel like with COVID, everyone forgets like yeah, like you can just have just a normal cold. But that's fun. Anytime or any interesting things happen? Any interesting people?
There was a lot of interesting people. So we went with a group of like 12 of us. So I didn't really experience anything weird because I was surrounded by people the entire time. But the one day that, so on the third day, there were some people that Russell wanted to see that I didn't really want to see and nobody else really wanted to see. So he like did his own thing. He went off. And then that was the day like people would like actually come up to me because I wasn't holding somebody's hand. Like this one guy came up to me with a Polaroid and he was like, "Can I take a picture of you?" And before I could even respond, he just like started taking pictures of me. And I was like, okay. Cause like I saw him like in the corner of my eye just staring at me. So I looked at him and then when we made contact, that's when he came over and I was like, oh fuck, like I shouldn't have done that. And then he just started taking pictures of me. And I was
Oh
like,
my God. With
okay.
the Polaroid camera?
I guess my outfit looked good that day.
Did he like give you the Polaroids or he
No, he
just
didn't
took
say
them and
anything. He
left?
just took them and then left. He didn't say a word
How
after he took
weird.
pictures. He just walked away. I was like, okay, that's cool.
How odd. There's probably a picture of you floating around some website. Like
Probably.
girls at Coachella.
Ugly girls at Coachella. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that happened. I saw a girl. Oh my God. There was 3 times when there's like a line of porta potties. Like that's how you go to the bathroom. And you know how you can like flip it. So it's like vacant or open or whatever. So it's like green or red. So I would go
Yeah.
to the green ones like, okay, it's green. There's nobody in there. 3 times there's a guy just pissing, forgets to lock the door. So I just
What the
walk in on him
fuck?
peeing. I'm like, okay, can you lock the
Lock
door
your
next time
shit.
maybe? So I don't
Yeah.
have to watch you pee. Um,
Oh
and
my God,
then
that's annoying.
on the second day, there was this girl that was in front of us. And at one point, she just throws up on the floor, like right in the middle of the field. She doesn't even like try and hide it, like, oh, I have to throw up. She just goes for it straight on the ground. And right when she's done, she goes back to dancing. And she dances for a little
And
bit,
that's
throws up again, same spot, and then right back to dancing.
what a vibe though.
And
She
I
was
honestly
committed.
kind of respected her because she was not going to let anybody disrupt her from having a good time, not even her throw up.
Her stomach could not care less. Or it could care less, but she could not.
Yeah. It was
That's
so fun,
funny.
though. I definitely want
You
to
said
go
there
again
was
next year.
you said there was a chicken nugget guy, a chicken tender guy,
Um.
or you were eating food and he came up to you.
Oh, yeah. He came up to me and he was like, are those, I forget what he asked me. Oh, he's like, are those fried pickles? And I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
no, they're chicken tenders. And he's like, they look really juicy, while like staring at my non-existent chest. I was like, okay, like that's a lie, but thanks. Like you can go get some chicken tenders over there if you want. They're
How
only
weird.
$37. I could talk about how expensive the food was, which is outrageous, but that's unrelated.
I've heard like water was like $17 or something like that.
Yeah. We got a lemonade. Guess how much the lemonade was? Just a normal. I mean, it was really good. It was really good, like cup of lemonade, but
For like $10, I feel like
it was
that's what
higher.
they would charge. Was it like 20?
It was like $17
That's crazy.
for a
For a
standard
lemonade.
lemonade. It was
That
super good, like, but not that much. Like, it was just lemon and water.
right.
There's like a little tiny lemon slice in it. Like, it wasn't anything crazy.
Did they give water out for free or were you allowed to bring in water outside the festival grounds?
Yeah, they had like water refill stations, and we brought like a camelback with water, like a backpack.
Yeah.
So we just filled that up so that we always had water wherever we were, which came in handy.
I've been to a few festivals where you can't bring water from outside and then the water's not free when you get inside. And it's like, how the hell are
So do
people
they want you to
supposed to?
die?
Exactly. And so, and like the water is like super expensive all the time because people need it. Yeah. $17. That's crazy.
Yeah. And the drinks were
For a
like all at least
lemonade.
$20.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why
Expensive.
people smuggle stuff
That's why
in
people
because,
smuggle things in. Yeah. It was
yeah.
so funny that like I had things like in my clothing, like hidden, and I
Mhm.
beeped when I went off in the metal detector. And the guy was like, "You're fine. Just keep going." But like they were doing full pat downs on like some other people. So it's just kind of funny to see like who they choose. They pick and choose who they want to pat down. But like they're not very
Right.
thorough at all because I literally beeped when I walked through the metal detector. What if I had like a knife?
Yeah. That's odd. That's really
Yeah.
spooky, especially after what happened with what is it? Astroworld?
Yeah.
Um yeah, I feel like that's like there needs to be a really like attention to security. I'm sure they were like, she's not a threat. It's fine.
It's so funny. Like they're so relaxed about letting people into the festival in terms of like checking if anyone's bringing in drugs or anything. But when you like get your ID checked and when you're getting alcohol, they're so like diligent. Like this guy took my ID and he was staring at it for like 10 minutes. He was like, "You look so much younger here." And I was like, "Yeah, that's because I was younger when the picture was taken." And like they were just so like thorough and made sure they investigated everybody's ID to make sure it wasn't fake. But like people are smuggling in cocaine and like other things.
Yeah. That's so stupid. I can't imagine. Because I updated my ID like a year, 2 years ago at this point, but before I was literally a boy. So like I couldn't imagine like
Oh
having to
my
deal with that.
god. Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
nightmare.
yeah. But that sounded like a fun time though. You were just like talking about it. You're still recovering. So part of you is still at Coachella, your
Yeah.
healthy part.
Mhm. My soul is still
So
there.
yeah, your soul is it's coming back. It's why you're feeling a little
Yeah.
yeah, bad this past week. But you were talking about how work was so it was such a drastic change coming back.
Oh my god. It was literally hell. Like I
It's
was
like
having the time of my life in the desert, dancing the night away for 3 days, and then I have to come back and deal with this. Like it's just not okay.
yeah, it doesn't seem like the I mean, every time I go on like a vacation and stuff, yeah, the day back is always the worst. Not worth it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm happy you had a good time.
I did. 10 out of 10. Actually, yeah, 10 out of 10.
Fun.
Good job,
We
Coachella.
have to go next year. I'm really like so down. I would love to. Were the lines to the restrooms long? That's the only I pee like 20 times a day.
Honestly, not really. Unless you try and go right after a show. Like if you try and go after like a big performer, you're going to be in line for 30 minutes. But if it's just like walking around in between sets, you're fine.
Okay. That's
Plus
good
there's
to
like so
know.
many and there's yeah, there's a lot of bathrooms.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds like fun. Yeah. So with that being said, I really wanted to jump into this story because I've been holding it in for so long
Okay, I'm
and I
ready.
really want to talk about it with you. Okay, so it revolves around me getting my hormones. So I just moved to Washington, as a lot of you may know, and I was very lucky that Gage recommended a doctor that she went to, which if you guys need a doctor, you're in like the Washington area, I recommend Polyclinic. They're really great. Downtown Seattle is where the doctor's located. And I've heard like he says he has people that come from like other states, like Alaska or something, to like see him because that's how hard it is for some people to get hormones. But they were so amazing, so inclusive. I was just like really shocked just going there. I don't know how, I can't imagine how you felt when you first were going there for hormones, and like how inclusive and nice everyone was. And I was just like shocked by it because the places I've gotten my hormones from, although they have been generous to provide hormone replacement therapy for trans people, they have been really shitty in making you feel like, you're so lucky that I'm doing this for you. When this place was like, you are a patient, we are helping you. And the other places like that I've been to in Florida have been like really transphobic. Really don't know how to like. There's no sensitivity with talking to a trans person, not really understanding how to communicate with a trans person. Saying things that are like out of left field. Like I had a doctor tell me that I was like his most attractive trans patient or something. And like you get like really weird shit in Florida. And here I felt like I was seen for the first time. I've never had met like a doctor that I like went up to and like told him about my life and like actually like saw me. And I thought that was like mind blowing. So he recommended this doctor. Seattle's like an hour drive from where I live. So we go on the drive. We're gonna spend the day in Seattle. We end up getting there, and I'm really nervous because I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna turn out. Like, what is this gonna be like? What's gonna happen? Um, so we end up going there, and um, everyone that was there was just like super amazing. Like I told them like when I get weighed and stuff like that, I don't like to see it. So I'm like, don't tell me how much I weigh. And she was like, yeah, no problem. Everyone was just so sweet. So we sit down, I wait for the doctor to come in, and he's just talking to me like a normal human being. We're like going over my history and everything. Like I'm from Florida and stuff like that. And so a lot of questions that doctors ask you are like they seem a little invasive, but it's like necessary because they want to know like your sexual health and stuff like that. So, you know, a lot of times they ask like, are you sexually active? What gender are you sexually active with? And stuff like that. And so at one point, okay, this is so embarrassing. At one point, he's asking me about my partner, Emily. So he's asking her, or he's asking me about her, and is like saying like, yeah, like okay, you're in a relationship with your partner. Is she a cis woman? And I'm like, yeah. And he was just asking me like a bunch of like other stuff. Like we're talking about her, and he goes, all right, so like what type of language do you like using? Like do you like using top, like bottom? What language do you like to use? And I was like, what? And I kid you not, I was like, I guess switch. And and he was like, switch. I've never heard of that before. And so like it wasn't until he was like clarifying, like he went down the list later, he was talking about like my chest and my bottom area. What do I like to refer to it as? Like because we're sensitive about that. Like trans people can be like, I don't want it to be called like a trans woman doesn't want to be called like a penis, like bottom area. He was asking me what language would make me comfortable, and I thought he was asking me what sexual position I preferred. And it was so embarrassing because he didn't I think he caught on, but I think it was just a really confusing overall thing, and I was so embarrassed because I think he I don't know, it was just like really embarrassing. I think he's gay too. So I think like he understood what I was like what
He was
he
like, oh yeah,
I
that's what
thought
I
he meant.
am.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, "Oh my god, how embarrassing." It was the worst thing. I couldn't stop thinking about it after I left because I was like, that's he would just say things that were like out of left field and like that was the one thing. I love him and like he was great, but the way that he would word things in a way that like I already had the context too. But like this was like out of left field because we were just talking about like Emily and then he switched it to like I don't know. It was
That's
so
so
weird.
funny. I
Yeah,
thought you were
I
gonna
was
say, oh,
so
I'm
embarrassed.
bilingual.
Oh no, no. Oh my, it just like, oh my god, because I don't know if anyone else like you. Everyone knows like top and bottom or sexual positions, especially used within the queer community. Like that's what a lot of us say, and then switches if you like do both. And so I literally thought he was asking me what my sexual, because I'm like, oh yeah, a doctor needs to know that because they need to like they want to know about the sexual health and everything like that. They want to know like likelihood of probably like sexually transmitted diseases, HIV, and things like that. So it was definitely an experience that
That's so
I
funny.
was so embarrassed, and I just can't believe that like I like I don't know, I'm so awkward, and I always call myself socially clumsy because I feel like there's a lot of situations where like I just like really I'm just like fucking up and I'm embarrassing myself, and it's so bad. But it was something else.
That's so funny. They do like ask weird questions because I did go to the doctor at the beginning of April. And you're right, they're kind of invasive, but like I understand why
Yeah.
they're asking. So it makes sense. But something I like about the polyclinic is that they ask you like a lot of personal questions too, like just about you, like getting to know you as a person. And then like
Mm-hmm.
every time I would go back, they would like revisit what we talked about last time. Like they would always say, "Oh, are you still with your boyfriend? Are you still working here?" Blah blah blah. So it was just nice to like feel like they cared to get to know me as a person too. That's something I
Yeah,
always liked about going there.
yeah, and it was like honestly the best experience. I showed him my previous my previous blood work and stuff like that, and he was like, I was like almost about to cry because he saw it and he was like, yeah, that's pretty low, and he was like, why don't we put you on like 8 milligrams, and because I'm on 6 milligrams of Spiro or estrogen, and he was like, why don't we put you on 8? And I like wanted to start crying, and I told him, I'm like, the doctor I was at before didn't want to put me over 2 because she said that I was gonna have a heart attack and die. Like, and he was like taken back. He was like, "You're joking," and I was like, "No," and he was like, no, "Yeah, no, like you'll be." And I was like, "Is 8, if I go to 8, is that safe?" And he's like, "Of course it's safe." He was like, it's just like any other pill. Like you're gonna be fine." He was like, "We're gonna have to watch out for things in your blood work, but like of course it's safe. Like we wouldn't be giving to you if it wasn't safe." And that was the first time because I like panic and I'm a hypochondriac because of the situations I've had in the past. But that was the first time that I've ever gotten like a clear answer of like, you're going to be okay. We got you. And like I've never felt supported like that in a clinic before, and it was just honestly like amazing. He even asked me, he was like, "Oh, like if you miss like taking pills some days because you forget, would you prefer to do hormones in a different way? Like would you prefer to like take shots or do anything like that, like injections?" And no one has ever asked me like what would I prefer, and like I thought that was really cool too. And so now I'm thinking about it, like, should I could do, um, injections? Have you wanted to do injections? What are your thoughts on that?
I asked my doctor that same question when I went, and he said that because I've been on hormones for so long, that injections probably wouldn't really change much at this point since it's, I don't even know how long it's been, like 6 or 7 years now. So he said it like traditionally it does have like a, I guess the effects will come in quicker if you start off with injections as opposed to pills. But just due to where I am in my transition, it probably wouldn't change much now for me. So because of that, probably no, I'll just stick with pills. But I
Yeah.
just wanted to see like, you know, I've heard people say like, wow, my boobs have got so much bigger since I started injections and stuff like that. But I've just been taking hormones for so long that I don't think it would make that much of a difference at this point.
Yeah, and I highly recommend if you guys are on pills and you wanna stay on pills, um, don't be like me. No one ever told me not to swallow them, estrogen pills, because I was just swallowing estrogen pills, and he was like, "Yeah, you don't wanna be swallowing them because you can get blood clots, like, don't do that." And it could, like, really damage your liver, I think? And he was like, "Yeah, don't swallow them. That's just not good." So you put it on your under your tongue and you let it dissolve in your mouth. I hate it though. It's disgusting.
It's so fucking
And like
gross.
I have to sit there for like 5 minutes just with the shit in my mouth and
Or you
like
could
letting it
honestly,
dissolve.
you could just like slosh it around with something to drink and then just drink
Yeah,
it
that's
after it's
true.
dissolved. That's what I usually do. I let it sit and then I like get water or something and I just drink it because it's
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Oh my god, and I just picked up spironolactone here, and like the spironolactone I typically get in Florida when I was getting it, it was like a very minty smell. Like it was like the smell of it was like really like minty and fresh, and it wasn't like bad. When it would go down my throat, you could just feel like it was like very like it felt like minty. But the spironolactone here that I got at the CVS smells like absolute dog shit. Like it is like the most disgusting smell. It smells like wet dog. Like I'm not even kidding.
It does. It's fucking
And
disgusting.
I'm not even sure. Like, I don't know, like I don't know if it's just the pharmacy that gave me like if it was like, because they'll give you like different off-brand versions and stuff like that or generic versions. So I'm not sure what the difference is, but like it smells so bad. And so like I had to like even Fig like because she likes to come and be nosy. I like my cat, so I opened up the pill bottle and I let her smell, And anytime she has like a disgusting, like she smells something disgusting, she like opens her mouth like she's about to gag. And like that's what she was doing with it. I'm like, okay, so it's not just me. Like this is gross.
Yeah.
But
Spiro's disgusting. It's the
yeah.
most disgusting one. I always make sure I have like so much water in my mouth so I can't
Yeah,
taste
exactly
anything.
same. And oh my god, and the pill is like it's as I'm getting older, it's getting harder for me to swallow pills. So like when I swallow my Spiro right before I go to bed, I can feel it like go through like my neck and I could feel it like coming down. And like I hate that feeling. It's like way too much for me. So but the one thing that I wanted to try injections because I heard that if you do injections, then it's then you can if you do strong enough injections, you can get off spironolactone. That's what I've heard. But then I like the doctor doesn't say that. He never said that. So I think people are just like and maybe this is true for some people, but I think people are just trying to like be their own doctors on Twitter and stuff like that and recommend what's best. But like actual doctors, I've never heard that before from any actual doctors. I don't know. Because
I'm
I
just,
spironolactone, what'd you say?
oh, go ahead.
I was saying spironolactone is just like it's known for having like a cloudy, foggy head. Um, and so a lot of people are like if you use spironolactone, you're gonna be like fuzzy, and if you stop, it'll like help it. So people are like, you should just take really strong estrogen shots, and you don't have to take it. But I don't know.
Yeah. Has your doctor like brought up doing, is it, what do they do when they snip, snip, but you don't get the full surgery? What's an orchiectomy? That I think
Or
it's an
yeah,
orchiectomy.
orchiectomy. Yeah.
My
So
doctor
he,
brought that up last time I went, and I was like, I never really thought about it, but I mean, I guess that's an
yeah,
option. But I feel like I would just
yeah.
rather just do it all.
Yeah, there's with an orchiectomy, like I'm nervous because like I'm so sexually active and it's weird for me to talk about this, but I think it's important to like talk about it. So like I'm sexually active and with like doing that, I'm worried that it's going to like prevent me from being sexually active because you're getting rid of like any sort of way for you to like perform, I guess. So that's like my fear is that like I'm not going to be able to like feel anything anymore. I mean, I don't feel anything much. I don't feel much anymore, but like I feel like it's going to fully like get rid of like any sort of sensation or feeling. So like it makes me really scared, but by doing it, I would be able to stop taking spironolactone because my body wouldn't be producing any more testosterone. So like I battle with that, like not really sure what to do. Like if I get that done, why don't I just get the whole bottom surgery? So like the whole it just freaks me out. But then also like my brother this past year like has dealt with testicular cancer. So it's like if I do it, then it makes a lot of sense to just do that because then it like prevents any sort of fear that I have in me that that might happen to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I think I would probably just rather go through with the whole entire thing.
Yeah.
But it also brings in the conversation of like kids in the future and like how I want to handle that. So it's just like a lot,
Yeah, the whole
unfortunately.
process, like, I don't know, it just makes me mad when people think and, like, there's so many people that, are, like, conservative, people that don't believe in trans people, think that, like, people just want to be trans for fun. People are being trans for fun because they want to groom kids or some bullshit like that, and it's like, I don't think the things that we go through, the mental toll that we put ourselves through, all these steps that we have to take in order for like us like have a family in the future, us like want to be comfortable in our skin. Like there's so many like steps that we have to take in this that like nobody in their right mind would ever put themselves willingly into these situations because it is hard. Like there's like a lot that goes into it. Um you were talking about your passport recently, right? That like
Yeah.
some shit
So
happened with that.
I was actually supposed to go to Cabo tomorrow as of filming this with my parents for a week. but I can't go because I wasn't able to renew my passport on time. So like I meet all the requirements to renew it through the mail. So like I should be able to just send all my documents in the mail and then they'll send me back my passport. But since my passport was last issued with a different gender marker, that disqualifies me from renewing in the mail. So I have to go in person. And a lot of the passport agencies closed down because of COVID. So it's really hard to get an appointment like quickly. Like the appointments are literally months out. So I was trying to settle this back in March and I still couldn't get an appointment in time because you have to go. And then even if you get it expedited, it could take up to 3 weeks for them to send it to you in the mail. So yeah, I couldn't do it. And I can't go to Mexico now because they're just transphobic and they don't want me to mail in my passport and they won't renew it for me. I have to go in person. For what reason? I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, that sucks.
That's crazy. Do you have to bring like a do you just have to bring your updated license, right? You don't have to have any other sort of proof.
No, you
You just
just
have
have
to
to
bring
bring
your
a
updated license.
picture and everything. So like that's what I'm trying to figure out what's the reason because I already have my new passport picture. So can you just like change it? Like switch it from an M to an F? Like it's not that hard, is it? Like if they're not
Yeah.
requiring you to have any like documentation to confirm that you should have your gender marker changed, then why do I have to go in person?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Now I'm because I Emily and I want to go to Mexico. We want to do like an all-inclusive type deal. Going back to my motherland, and it'd be interesting to go back, but we don't have a passport. So now I'm like not sure because I'm like I want to get one because obviously you don't have to confirm anything, but that is weird that like they're making you go in. So we'll see. Um, it sucks that it just takes months and months and months before you can get one. Like I feel like you should just apply for it and it like is like a week process. Like your license, you go in for your DMV and you walk out the same day.
Yeah, and like
So
you pay an extra $200, $300 for it to be expedited, but it still like takes weeks to come. So it's just like a annoying process. If you have a trip or if you're honestly just renew it before you even plan a trip because it's a hassle.
yeah, and I think I'm gonna because I've never had a passport before, so I think I'm gonna actually get one probably in the next few months because just in case the next election. I have a fear. I don't know if you have the same fear of like because of all the stuff and like that's going on in like different or like different states that like we're gonna have a time in our future where get doing hormones is gonna be trying stripped away from us because like right now they're already trying to take it away from kids and I'm worried that it's gonna progress somewhere and maybe I'm just like crazy and a hypochondriac and I'm afraid of everything but I don't know, I'm like, keep seeing everything happening, and I'm like, they're gonna take all my rights away. So I'm like, I need to get my passport before anyone tries to tell me like this or that. I don't know.
I'm just gonna pretend like I'm not trans.
That's
They're gonna
true.
ask me, I'm saying no. I don't know what you're
I
talking
will
about.
say Washington is cool because you don't even you just tell them what your gender is, and they put that on the ID. Like Emily's sister has like her gender is X on there, and just because she
Yeah,
was
I
like
saw that was an option.
yeah, I was like that's interesting. But yeah, I what I don't like about Washington's ID, and I'm gonna rant to you really quickly because fuck Washington. Why is there a weight on it? Like that's so stupid. Because everyone's weight fluctuates all the time, and I'm like,
Wait,
it
I think
doesn't
there's
make
a
any
way on
sense.
mine too for California. I
Yeah,
think I
that's
have a
great.
weight. Does
Florida
Florida not
doesn't
have one?
have one.
Oh.
No, I was about to show my Florida license as if that's smart to do, but yeah, there's no weight on it, and I'm like, why the fuck do I have to? Because people's weight changes like and fluctuates a bunch all the time and you can tell from the picture generally if someone seems like I mean there's a picture ID on it. I don't know why you would need
Can
the
you
weight,
imagine? They're
but
like, why did you lose 15 pounds? Like, is this really you? Like, it says you're this
yeah,
much. That's
like
not right.
it doesn't make sense. I mean like cuz in 2020. I like lost 20 pounds just randomly. And like, and that just happened just like not even me trying. Like it just upsets me that like you have to freaking put your weight. So I was thinking about like updating my license, but just because of that, I'm just so insecure and I like don't like to think about it. And I'm like, are they gonna weigh me? Like I'm like way too freaked out by it. I'm like, that's so silly.
I never thought about that. That is kind of
Yeah,
pointless. Like, what? Why do you need to know how much you weigh?
yeah. South Carolina, where I'm like my family's from, it was like that. So growing up, I always like knew it was like that. But whenever I moved to Florida, um, yeah, they didn't have any at all on it, and I thought that was so cool. And then here I saw my Emily's sister's like a license, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Do you
But
like the
yeah,
way that Washington ID looks as opposed to
I do.
Florida?
I prefer Florida's is really cool. I'll cover up all my information, but like, um, let's see, Florida's is like really cool. Like you can't even see it, but there's like a holographic image of me. Like it just like is a holographic image of my face, like on it. Like it's a really cool license, and
Is it the
yeah.
Washington one still like blue with like green?
Yeah,
I forgot what it looks
here,
like.
let me see. Washington state license. Yeah, it's still
Wait, do you have a
um
Washington ID?
no.
Not
But the
yet.
way that yeah. It's just like yeah, it's just like a blue license. I don't know. It's not, I prefer the Florida one. Um the Florida one's cooler, but I don't know.
Then
Part
keep
of me
it. I
doesn't I
kept
want
my Washington license for like 50 years after I moved here.
to
So,
yeah. Emily and I don't know what the future like if we're going to stay here forever either. I really love it and I want to be here for as long as we can. Um, it's just we're so close to Seattle, and every time we go in the city, it's so much fun, and we're so close to nature, and it's perfect. If we move anywhere else, um, it would probably be LA. I think that's gonna be if that's like ever in the future, that might be what happens, because her sister lives here, and if her sister were to move, we would have no one here, so it would be hard to like be here with no one. So
yeah. Well,
yeah.
if you come to LA, I'm here. Imagine I move back to
Exactly.
Washington and you guys come to LA.
I used to have 2 cousins in LA, but one moved back to Florida. So I'm like, well, at least I have one, and then I have you there. And I know there's so many people there that it's easy to just like meet people. But yeah, Emily and I are going to after this. We're gonna go to like a art space here in Olympia, and we're gonna walk through it and maybe sign up for like a ceramics class or something,
Oh,
because
that's fun.
we need friends. We just
Yeah.
need social interaction. So it would be nice to actually go to a place like every week and just like get social interaction.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, because like in LA, Russell had like a group of friends, right? That you were able to mend with pretty well.
Yeah. And they all have girlfriends, so it's like that was easy for me to make like a couple quick friends based on that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely hard if you move and you don't have any family or you don't know anybody.
Yeah. And I'm an introvert where like it's really hard for me. Like my close knit circle of friends is very small. There's only like 2 people that I text regularly, and you're one of them. And I've noticed as I'm getting older, texting for me is becoming like a lot more like hard. Where like I don't know. I think I'm isolating myself, and I think I'm going down a dangerous path that like I'm trying to prevent myself from going down. So I'm trying to socialize more. I got my hair cut yesterday, which was the best experience that I've ever had, I think. Like, genuinely so great. She just like talked with me the entire time. And like every time I go and get a haircut, they're just like quiet. And like you'll try and start a conversation, and then they'll like answer and then are quiet. And I'm like, okay, I'll let them focus on their craft. Like I don't wanna
That's
but
so
like
weird. Like hearing you talk about just going to the doctor and like all the bad experiences that you had, it was hard for me to like believe that because I never experienced that. And like getting my hair cut, everybody that's ever cut my hair has talked to me like the entire time. So
Really?
maybe Florida just like sucks.
I think so. Like, because it was a haircut that like probably is supposed to take an hour. I was there from like 11 to like just for my haircut, just like cutting my bangs, like making them shorter. I was there from 11 to like almost 12. Like I was there for almost 2 hours just cuz she was talking to me. We were talking, she was showing me stuff on her phone. Right before I left, she was like, "Oh, I guess I have to charge you." And then she like cuz she like was completely not even thinking about it. And I'm like, "You're nice to me. You're going to get a 30% tip."
And it looks
And so
great. So she
every
made it a good experience and she also snapped and your hair looks good.
I know, thanks. I just woke up. I'm still trying to learn how to like deal with it. I really wanted to go more mullety or like but like and like have shorter bangs, but because the ends of my hair are still blonde, um I I had to cut off a lot of it. So I wasn't able to get the mullety look that I wanted to, but I wanted really short bangs. I showed like a reference picture. Let me show you the picture. If you're watching this video, you can see it, but this was a reference picture I showed. Oh god damn it. Cuz I really like her bangs, but my hair's not that long yet.
Yeah, I feel like that's very like you could pull it off.
Yeah, so I wanted shorter bangs and I really liked it. But it's cool being new to a city and having like someone that lives there their entire life tell you all about it. I got a little history lesson too about the indigenous roots in Washington. I feel like Washington is so like proud of their like indigenous like roots. She did say that was like a recent thing that like it's getting more and more like attention, but I thought it was cool. Have you been whale watching before
I have when I was young, so a while ago, but I do remember going
to
and it
see
was
the
fun.
orcas?
Yeah,
Yeah, I want to do it so bad. So there's a lot that we still need to do and explore here. Um, have you ever been to Lake Crescent?
I think so.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's pretty. It's 3 hours for me. It's right up near Port Angeles, which is I'm sure it's a really
Lake
far drive
Crescent. It sounds
from
familiar. I think I have.
where you're from.
Probably when I was younger.
Yeah, I will say, I guess before the podcast wraps up, for our anniversary, Emily and I went to like around where you're from.
Oh my gosh.
We went to
Yes.
Chambers Bay,
Mm.
and it was really beautiful. And I would like to thank you for that recommendation because that's probably going to be like a spot we're going to go to like anytime we need like a breath of fresh air. But the view was like a daydream. Like it was unreal. Like just like going up to it and like seeing like the mountain like landscape and everything. I just like breathtaking. Like we just like went there and we like stood to the bay and we put like our hands in the water and we're like just like trying to like soak it in. It was like unreal.
In
So
the
I thank you
summer,
for that.
it's so pretty. Like when it's the sky's clear and the sun's shining. I went like literally every day just to go running because I ran a lot. Did you end up walking the whole thing or just like you guys stayed at the bottom towards the
Oh,
water?
yeah, we stayed at the bottom towards the water for like maybe 30 minutes before we ended up we came back because we wanted to get dinner before it got too late. Because it was like a 40-minute drive, which isn't bad at all. So it's good to know that if you ever go back home to visit, I'm like 40 minutes away from you.
Mm.
So that's cool. But yeah, we didn't get to do the whole thing, but I think next time we're gonna want to do the whole thing. And so much grass that you can just sit on and like have a picnic. I saw kids flying kites there. There was a guy he had like got a drone and he was flying his drone and then it crashed right in front of us.
Oh my
And he
god.
was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't mean like this is the first test flight." And I'm like, "Oh, your shit's broken, my guy. Like it broke into pieces." And it was yeah, it was a cool little like vibe there and I can't wait to go back. So, It was a very good anniversary, and I'm very thankful for that recommendation because it was very close. Really nice to just kind of get out.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad you guys went. And I remember you FaceTimed me and you were like trying to find there's like a point on the a bridge that overlooks the water that has a bunch of padlocks that couples like leave, they write their initials and like little notes on there, and you're like trying to see if you could find ours because we put one on there a couple of years ago, but I'm sure it's been taken off since then.
Yeah, I saw a Gage, but I don't think it
That's
was.
so crazy that like you still saw somebody with my name.
Yeah, yeah. So I was looking for like, R and G. I was like looking everywhere and we like tried our best, but we couldn't find it. But we said that we wanted to go put one there next time we went. Yeah, we spent so long just like looking through it. Be like, where are you? So yeah, it was a good time. You went to a Michelin, right?
Oh my
Restaurant for your
god.
anniversary
We went
recently?
to it's a restaurant in LA called Osteria Mozza. If you know who Nancy Silverton is, she's like a chef. It's her restaurant, and literally the best meal that I've probably ever had in my entire life. It was so
That's
good.
awesome.
So good.
That is so awesome. I was looking if there was any in Seattle, and then I looked at ones, how much they cost, and like for
Yeah,
a
they're a little
plate, it was like,
pricey.
yeah, that Michelin star really boosts their ego
Yeah,
and their
and but it's
prices.
it's worth it if
Yeah.
you just can like put a money aside to go and just experience it. Like I was eating things that I don't like. I don't like octopus. I don't like duck, but I was eating that shit up. It was so good.
How does octopus taste?
Um, like chicken. The one
Oh
that
my
I was
god,
eating,
that's
like it
funny.
literally tasted like chicken. So yeah,
Interesting. It's probably the breading and stuff if there was any.
yeah, it was like fried. I think it was so
Yeah.
good, and like the duck was like in a pasta sauce. So good. Sorry, ducks, but I
I
had to eat
know.
that night.
I'm as a vegetarian, I'm triggered.
I'm so sorry.
I need a good tofu place. All right. Well, I guess with that being said, thank you guys for listening and hanging out with this episode. It was a little more relaxed. We're both still catching up with one another. It's been like a hectic few weeks. So and yeah, thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you everybody for listening. You can follow us on Instagram if you'd like to. We both have our own Instagrams, and Girlish has its own Instagram as well at Girlish Podcast. And yeah, I guess we'll see you when we see you, and that next time we see you is undetermined, but we're always here.
It'll be soon. Yeah, it'll be soon.
We're always
Definitely.
here.
Um, yeah, you can follow us everywhere. Girlishpodcast.com is also a good way to be connected with us. Spotify, we're doing Spotify videos now. I don't know if you guys saw the last episode, but we were able to put our video up on Spotify. So the full length episode is on Spotify, the video format. So if you just want to watch us through your phone, you can do that. So yeah. What we didn't talk about that I want to talk about next time is that we were on our collaboration, or did we talk about our collaboration with Anchor? Did we talk about
We
that
did,
already? Oh, we
right?
did. Okay,
I think
good.
so.
I think so. Yeah, we did. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.